All right, welcome to my brand new podcast series. This is Legends of World Soccer. My name is Aaron James. I am a lifelong soccer fan. This series is all about the greatest soccer players of all time: Pelé, Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff, George Best, Kenny Dalglish. I'll be looking to you listeners for suggestions on who else to include. So I'm based here in Phoenix, Arizona, which means I'll also be heading out to Casino Arizona Field, checking in with the local professional soccer club, Phoenix Rising, their players, their coaches, their management staff. I'll be getting their input and their takes on their favorite players, and I'll work all that into the mix as well. The series is going to focus on one player per episode. Should be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. This installment is actually just a teaser for the first full episode, which will be coming soon, and it's going to be about my favorite player of all time, the Brazilian legend, Pelé. I'll throw out some history, some little-known facts, talk about why Pelé is my favorite player, and give you a little info on what he's up to right now, including a health update. I'm sad to say that Pelé is not in such good health at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start this tease sort of at the end of Pelé's professional career when he came to the United States in the early 1970s. At that point in time, soccer was pretty much non-existent in the United States, but it all started to change when a guy by the name of Steve Ross, who was the founder of Warner Communications, decided to go all in on the North American Soccer League and the New York Cosmos. Steve was an entrepreneur, a big risk taker, and he loved sports, and the New York Cosmos became his passion in the 1970s. When he bought in, the league and the Cosmos were pretty much struggling in obscurity. Nobody knew who the Cosmos were, what soccer was. Most people couldn't even spell soccer. The Cosmos were really just a semi-pro team. The players were part-timers who had full-time jobs and played soccer on the side really just for the fun of it because they had a passion for it. And they were playing in this rinky-dink stadium in New York City at a place called Randall's Island, which is probably more well-known for being a depository for the criminally insane and people on medical quarantine than anything you might think of as a home for a professional soccer club. The field was mostly mud, shards of broken glass, and bits of concrete. Average attendance was probably about 50 people per game, mostly friends and family of the players, and it was all pretty dismal. So Steve Ross decides that the only chance he's got to transform this thing into something like a legitimate professional sports franchise is to go out and get some of the best players in the world. And Steve, being the overachiever that he is, decides to go for the best player in the world at the time, which was Pelé. They've called it the hunting of Pelé, and it's actually a pretty remarkable story. At the time, the Brazilian government tried to block the move completely, citing Pelé's status as a national treasure. They did not want to let him out of Brazil. So Steve Ross, being the rich and powerful guy that he is, and a guy that's not used to being told no, enlists the help of none other than Henry Kissinger and Nelson Rockefeller to help negotiate the deal to bring Pelé to the New York Cosmos. So there's varying accounts regarding exactly how much the Cosmos paid Pelé to come to the United States, but the conservative estimates are about $1.3 million per year, and the higher end estimates are about $2.5 million per year. Now keep in mind that at that point in time, the highest paid player in all of Major League Baseball was Hank Aaron, and he was only making $200,000 per year. So let's just put that in perspective. According to Bleacher Report, the highest paid player in Major League Baseball for 2020 is Mike Trout. He's getting paid about $38 million just for this year. Now just imagine if, out of the blue, some American businessman who really never had anything to do with professional sports whatsoever decided to bring a player from another country to the United States this year to play a sport that almost no one has ever even heard of and pay the guy in the neighborhood of $400 million a year. That's basically what Steve Ross did when he brought Pelé to the New York Cosmos in 1975. This basically gave the New York Cosmos and the North American Soccer League a whole new level of credibility. The New York Cosmos absolutely blew up in the mid to late 1970s. They went from playing in a tiny little ragtag stadium in front of about 50 people to being the first team ever to sell out Giant Stadium, packing the place with 78,000 fans. Pelé was the star of the team, and his legacy from those years with the New York Cosmos was to inspire a whole generation of players like myself to take up the game. Never would have happened without Pelé. I'm glad it did happen because it's given me a lifelong passion for soccer that continues today. But I'm going to have to tell you more about that next time because that music you hear means it's time for me to get on out. I want to thank you for listening to this first teaser episode of my podcast series, Legends of World Soccer. Again, my name is Aaron James. You can check in with me on Twitter at abjames22. Until next time, I am out.